and website on YouTube. Council President Pecoraro is out of town this evening on business, so I'll be presiding over tonight's meeting. Now we'll begin the meeting as we do every meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Copies of tonight's agenda and the entire information packet that the council will be using are available online on the city's website. I think we have some hard copies here for the audience as well if they want it somewhere maybe. First, we'll consider approval of the minutes, and we have minutes from the meeting of February 28th of 2022. Can I have a motion to approve those minutes, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Moved by Councilwoman. Which one of you guys were first?
I don't care. Pick one of us.
Okay, we'll go Ann first and Kevin second. I'm sorry, Councilwoman Gilbert and Councilman Dayhoff.
I've been called worse.
There you go. Okay, so we'll go ahead and take the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. The minutes are approved. Next up, we have a presentation from the Local Government Insurance Trust Legit Health Aggregate Report. Mr. Tim, it's nice to see you. Now, are you retiring soon or something?
In October at Halloween.
So will this be the last time we see you?
I hope not. I'll see you in Him this summer at least, at a minimum.
Yeah, okay, good. Well, it's always nice to have you back here, especially when you have an envelope in your hand.
Well, yeah, thank you very much. It's nice to be here, and I do want to thank you very much, A, for having me here tonight, and B, especially for belonging to both Legit and Legit Health. You all took a chance back in 2011 when you joined the Legit Health, 2010, joined the Legit Health program, and you have been probably the single most successful, you and Kent County, are the single two best members of this program. You received checks every single year for a whole lot of money. This past year, this check tonight is for the program year of 7/1/2020 to 6/30/21. So it takes about six to 7 months to true everything up by the time we get money back from the reinsurers and all that on the health program. And so I apologize for the tardiness of giving this check, but I think to help with that problem, this check tonight is for $487,000, $850. That's part of a three.
Sim Holmes is very happy. Right? There's a big smile underneath of that mask. I promise.
This is part of 3.7 million that we're giving back overall, and since it started, I think we've given back in the neighborhood of over $20 million. And what this represents is the way this program works is you have an administrative fee that takes care of, we pay Cigna to do the claims in the network. We pay Benecon to manage the program, and then Legit, we do the marketing, and we're the treasurer of it. We get a very small amount, much smaller number than this to manage this program. But we do it for our locality and local government members. And it's just wonderful to be able to do this, to come up every single year. I think you and Ken are the only two members that have received checks every single year since the program started. And it's just a real pleasure to do this. And so with that, I'm happy to present this to you, sir.
You can give it to Miss Imholz. I don't even want to touch it. It'll probably get lost or something.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
There, did you want to take a photo?
Do we usually take a photo?
I'd like to take a picture. I would love
All right. Come on, over.
Oh, you got it?
Make it official.
Oh, the mayor should be in the picture.
We'll get in here.
Let me get this picture.
Do you want to get the photo?
Okay.
Nope. I'll take the money. You take the picture. How about that?
That's good.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, folks, for having me, and thank you for putting me first on the agenda
You'll
tonight.
take that, of course.
We know you have a drive home, and
God bless.
obviously you can skedaddle. You don't have to sit through this whole thing.
Thank you very
Good seeing
much.
you. Thank you.
Well, from what I hear, it'll be a quick one.
It's going to be quick. Thank you, Tim. Really appreciate it. Well, that's wonderful, and that's a testament to the great work that our staff and leadership does to keep the staff healthy, because that's a big factor in getting that refund on the staff health and use of the system. So great work to everyone. Okay, so we have no items on the consent calendar this evening, so we can, I don't believe, right?
No.
There is nothing on the consent calendar, so we can skip that. So we'll move right on to report from the mayor.
All right. So thank you, Councilman Kavachi. So I just want to start with a real quick shout out to Steve Strasberg. He is our superintendent of the streets department. He has had an incredibly busy last 2 weeks, week and a half. I think he's probably always busy. But I know that the day that the rec center, the family rec center had that vandalism, he was there cleaning up with his crew all day. They prepped for our first major event for the year, which was the Celtic Cantor and the Irish Festival, which in part ended up half of it occurring during winter storm warning, which might have been the first winter storm warning that we had gotten for this season, and 6 inches of snow. And so not only was he setting up for an event, he was also dealing with the streets that day as well. And then Mr. Glass told me that at 11:30 a.m. there was a tree that had fallen down on Main Street as well that he had gone to deal with. So just wanted to mention that he's behind the scenes. You don't see him an awful lot. We should have invited him so we could have had him here and maybe embarrassed him a little bit, but he is truly one of the employees that makes the city phenomenal, along with everyone else. Just a real quick reminder, on Tuesday, March 22nd, that's next Tuesday at 5 p.m., I will be hosting a community meeting at the City Administration Building. That's at 45 West Main Street regarding the Westminster City Pool. As you know, it will be closed this summer for renovations. And so we will go over what those renovations are going to look like. We're going to talk about a little bit of the plans. Mrs. Gruber will be there with me and we'll be able to answer any questions that the public might have about the pool. So I would appreciate, if you have questions, please plan to come out and attend that meeting. That's at 5 p.m. on Tuesday, March 22nd. Finally, the last thing I just wanted to mention, on March 2nd, the Fiber Commission met, and I had asked Dr. Wack to send me a quick update on that. And they reviewed the marketing efforts by Ting to increase subscriber growth and the take rate. They discussed a number of possible additional initiatives, and of particular interest was a demographic analysis that Ting shared and the detailed profiles of various consumer groups in Westminster that are utilizing the fiber, and how that will inform some of the strategy going forward. And so the Fiber Commission has been busy looking at where we can move with the gigabyte fiber in Westminster. Finally, I know he's not here, but Council President Pecoraro, the last 2 weeks had 2 really phenomenal suggestions. The first was that we light City Hall and the City Clock Tower with the colors of Ukraine, which had council support. And I know the staff got on that and did that immediately. And there have been nothing but amazing positive comments from the community. So I want to thank him for sort of suggesting that and taking that initiative. And then I'm not going to say a whole lot about it because everyone's going to mention it. The council participated in a 0.5K. That 0.5K, it was 2 laps around the block as part of the Irish Festival. That again was Councilman Pecoraro's suggestion, Council President Pecoraro, and it was a blast. Partly because we were in a winter storm warning, but partly because it's the group of people that are sitting up here. So thank you, and that's all I'll say.
Thank you, Madam President, or Madam Mayor, I'm sorry.
You're fine, you're new.
Yeah, I'm new at this, right, exactly. Okay, so we'll go ahead on to reports from the standing committees. Arts Council, Councilman Dayhoff.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Frederick Arts Council has reached out to me. They are looking for submissions from the LGBTQ visual artist community. Artists don't need to be located in Frederick to apply. The artists from the Mid-Atlantic region of the United States are encouraged to apply. All forms of visual art will be considered. Notifications of acceptance will be sent by April the 15th. Let me see, I think the deadline, I don't have it written down here. I think the deadline is April the 1st. If you have any questions about submitting to this, I have submitted to many of these shows in the past. Reach out to me and I can give you much more information about it. We're also looking for the annual Peep show. The annual Peep show is, if it's not an international event, it is certainly a national event, and it occurs right here in Westminster. The Peep show will take place from April the 8th through the 18th. Check the website for the Carroll Arts Center for much more information. Programmatically, they're just knocking it out of the park these days. They're doing a great job for us. And speaking of that, Art in the Park is coming up also. Check their website. It's a great website. I love working with the new executive director, Lynn Griffith. She's doing a great job for us. And I believe that will be my report, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, economic and community development. Mr. Councilman Huff.
Yes, the only thing I want to note for the public, if we were originally scheduled to meet this Thursday, March 17th at 3:30 p.m., but we, for a variety of technical reasons, we did have to reschedule that meeting. It is now going to be Wednesday, March the 30th at 3:30 p.m. It will be in person at 45 West Main. Fingers crossed that we don't have to reschedule it again. So Wednesday, March 30th at 3:30 p.m.
Okay. Thank you very much. Finance Committee, there'll be no Finance Committee report this evening unless somebody's filling in for Council President Pecoraro for that.
All I will mention is the week of, as Vice Chair, the only thing I will mention is that the Finance Committee will be having several meetings the week of the 28th, where we are going to start working on the budget with staff. So those are my only comments.
Thank you very much. Personnel Committee, Councilwoman Gilbert.
I have nothing to report.
Thank you. Public Safety, Public Safety Committee. So I have a couple of things for public safety. Chief and his staff participated in Leadership Carroll's Justice and Law Day on March 8th and received quite a bit of positive feedback related to that event. So kudos. I know you guys did a wonderful job, and I've heard about it from a couple of folks. What a great job you did on that. The police department also received a letter from an individual that I want to take 1 minute and read, maybe 2 minutes, because I think it's worth reading out loud. I just wanted to encourage all of the force. I wanted to encourage all of the force on the excellent job of policing they do. For the past 15 years living in Westminster, I have found every interaction with the police to be courteous, thoughtful, complete, and competent. I particularly appreciate the willingness of the patrol division to support community events with increased patrols when requested and available. The Westminster Police Department is the ideal hybrid of competence, professionalism, and community involvement that maintains the safety and security of the city. And this came from a Mr. James Ridgely. And I think, he captures what we hear often about our police department, that type of feedback from our citizens. I think every one of us sitting up here has heard these type of comments time and time again about the excellent job that our police department does, and that exemplifies that. So kudos, Chief. On March 22nd, Chief Ledwell attended a opioid senior policy group meeting and presented in front of that group. And there were representatives from the governor's opioid operational command staff. And they were so impressed by the job that he did and the presentation that he made. They specifically requested copies of it, I'm sure, for their own internal or maybe even external use, and even made comments as to how phenomenal the presentation was that he put together. And of course, that comes as no surprise to any of us. We know that's an important thing for the chief and his staff, and they do a wonderful job on that. And he's heavily involved in opioid prevention here in the community. Lastly, the police department is continuing to investigate the break-in over at the City Fitness Center that the mayor had mentioned earlier in terms of public works. Excellent job of cleaning up over there, as well as some slashing of some vehicle tires that occurred right around that same time. And they're working on leads and following up and going after those that are responsible. So that's it for public Safety. Works. Public Works is going to be shutting down some water Tuesday and Wednesday. It's a low usage period to do some maintenance. And you want me to read the locations, or I don't think it hurts if people are paying attention. It's going to be Uniontown Road, Calderrider Court, Bradford Drive, Hilltop Drive, Pleasanton Road, Juliet Lane, and Othello Court. It's not all of Uniontown. It's 517 through 416. But they'll be closing that down for a short period of time to do some maintenance, things like that. How long?
So it's going to be two separate shutdowns.
Okay.
Not everybody will be affected in both shutdowns, but that's the list of the total people that will be affected. It will be from 9 in the evening until 5 in the morning, Tuesday night and Wednesday night.
Thank you. And they've been notified of that. They've been tagged and such. And as I know we've all seen, and there's a big ladder truck out there right now. There's been a lot of work going on here at City Hall, and I have been watching them up there. Even in the pretty foul weather, they were up there running around on the roof doing some repair on this wonderful building. And there's going to be some road work repairs following shortly. And let's see. I think pavement work on Washington Road is complete. So that's wonderful. So that's it for the Public Works report. Let's see. Next up, we have Recs and Parks. So that would be Councilman Dayhoff.
Thank you, Mr. President. And when they cut my water off on March 15th, I'm going to come over to your place for a shower.
Yeah, you'll have to talk to Kelly about that.
Okay.
I'm thinking that's probably not going to happen.
Well, gee, I thought we were Recreation and Parks. We have a meeting coming up. Yeah, this Thursday we have a meeting coming up. I'm hurt.
I think you left him speechless here for a few moments.
Thank you, Mr. President.
You're welcome. And last up would be the Technology Committee. I am vice on that, and so and Councilman Pecoro is chair, so we have no report on that. So council comments and discussion. This is an opportunity for the council members to speak on any issues that are not part of the committee reports or any other agenda items. So we'll start off to my right, Councilman Huff.
Okay, so I wanted to give you all an update. As you all know, I'm on the MML, Maryland Municipal League Legislative Committee. And one of the big legislative priorities is the highway user revenue. Right now, there is a sunset. We still do not get the same percentage of money that we used to prior to the Great Recession. And there's been a big push over the years to restore it to what it was prior to the Great Recession, as well as get rid of the sunset. The Senate had a hearing, which was in person. It was on Wednesday, March the 9th at 2 p.m. MML had a really good turnout. I was there as well as Councilman Dayhoff. So it was an in-person hearing. I thought the vibe of the hearing went very, very well. It was in front of the Senate Budget and Taxation Committee. So far, that committee has not voted the bill out yet. The following day, though, the House heard it. Now, they heard it online. They are not meeting in person yet. They did vote the bill out, but with amendments. And the amendments are, right now, the sunset disappears in fiscal year 2025. They still have a sunset with the way it's coming out of the House committee. The committee that it's in is the Environmental and Transportation Committee. But the sunset is now 2028. And instead of, we were supposed to go back to 2.6, and now it is tiered, where in fiscal year 2023, the current law, how it is right now, in fiscal year 2023, municipalities get 2% of that money. Fiscal year 2024, we get 2%. And then fiscal year 25, forevermore, it's only 0.4%. As amended out of the House, it is 2.0 in fiscal year 23, 2.1 in 24, 2.2 in 25. keeps on going up to 2027 when it's 2.4, and then it goes back to 0.4 in 2028. So what my point is that I think something will end up, it's still a process, something is going to pass, most likely. It will not be quite what MML would like, which is they would like to get rid of the sunset and would like the percentage to go back to 2.6. But will it be better than what the current law is? Yes, hopefully. So I will continue to keep you all posted on this. The other legislative priority was the police accountability boards. I think you remember about that right now municipalities do not. If the county oversees the municipalities, if there's any issues, and municipalities want the right, not to be required, but the right to form their own police accountability board. That bill does not appear to be going anywhere right now. So for this legislative session, I do not think that's going to change, which means that the county will probably oversee us for the time being. I think that's a mistake, but there doesn't seem to be a real big desire to go back and revisit that at least this year. So that's all I wanted to kind of give you an update on kind of where some of these issues stand. I will continue to update you because we're now entering the phase in the session where a lot of things happen very, very quickly. On another subject, I just wanted to mention, again, several people brought it up. I thoroughly enjoyed the Celtic Canter, even though it was snowing. It was a phenomenally fun time. And I'm always so impressed for a city of our size, the kind of events that we hold, and what a tremendous job our staff does on these events, because it's a real credit to the city of Westminster. It makes, personally, it's one of the reasons I love living here. So that's it, Mr. President.
Great, thank you. Councilwoman Gilbert.
I just have two ththings. I wanted to express a thank you to Ms. Imholtz and to Dr. Mayor Becker. We had, back on March 1st, we had our commissioners and council meeting, and it was the first one I think I've attended in the 2 years, I believe, that I've been on the council. And I kind of want to express my my thank you, because I feel like we have some really good open communication going forward with multiple government entities, not just the commissioners, allowing us the opportunity to move forward on a lot of our projects. And I know, I don't think that would really be possible if it wouldn't have been for Ms. Imholtz and Dr. Becker. So I wanted to say thank you for that. Also, to the streets department, I know it's already been said, we had quite the snowy Saturday between them, Parks and Rec and the police during our snow canter, shall we call it, this year. I saw everybody plowing and salting and shoveling and managing the roads to keep everybody safe and nobody falling as they were running. It was absolutely great, including the 0.5K. I know the town was planning on 1,000 people probably being here, and we had a lot less than that. I did have someone come to me and say, hey, could we keep the downtown open till the wee hours of the night, but like 8 o'clock in the evening, just throwing that out there to you, Abby. And I figured maybe you could add, now you can add that you can now manage an event during a bomb cyclone on your resume. So there you go.
But don't update your resume.
Very good point.
I'm not trying to tell you anything about that.
Dan?
I'm not pushing you.
Ignore that.
At all.
Ignore that.
Strike last comment on the record. Councilman Dayhoff.
Thank you for my shirt. I think it's a keepsake. I really appreciate it. I want to echo the mayor's remarks about the council president's suggestion for the lights on the clock tower and City Hall. I've received a number of wonderful comments about that. And I did appreciate Mr. Pecorara's suggestion that we all run together and the snow canter crawl, whatever. It was tough keeping up with Councilman Kabachi, but we managed to be able to do it. I want to shout out to Council Member Dan Huff for his leadership and his work on the Legislative Committee. For those who are not aware, it is a tremendous amount of work. And they've done a great job. And I think the hearing in the Senate was a testimony to how well we all work together. That was really a who's who. I don't think I've ever recalled seeing that many county executives and county commissioners and mayors all at one time, and everybody got along really well. I spoke with Senator Ron Young later, and he was impressed with how well we all worked that event. It was a good event. When's crossover date? Do you know, Mr. Huff?
Councilman Dayhup, I am not sure. I believe it's the end of the month, but I am not certain to the exact date.
Next week, crossover.
Next week? Okay.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do with reconciliation on the highway user revenue. It's interesting because when that legislation first came forward in the 1950s, that was clearly our money, and the state volunteered to collect all of that money for us and turn that over to us. Yeah, how did that work out, Mr. Kavachi? Yeah, the highway user revenue has been one of the legislative priorities of the MML since 1976. It's just a constant problem. I really wish we could clean it up. I had the opportunity to get together when I was down in Annapolis last Wednesday to get together with my friend David Brinkley, the Secretary of Management and Budget. I think we're in good shape on our requests in the capital budget, which is really good news for us. That was a really good meeting that I had. He clearly understands what it is that we're trying to do here in Westminster, and we're looking forward to making some progress on that. Let me see here. I also want to echo the remarks. We really enjoyed having dinner with you. Thank you very much. We really, a lot of folks aren't aware of, they're just used to how well we all work together and how well we all get along. And that's serving our citizens extremely well. And that isn't the model throughout the state. It is not. I hear stories. We got together with a number of other elected officials afterwards last Wednesday, and to hear some of the stories from some of the other municipalities and counties. We're extremely blessed in Carroll County. Along with Councilwoman Gilbert, we went to the 20-town business breakfast last Friday. Yeah, and Mike Robinson, the new Carroll County Director of Fire and EMS, was the speaker, and he gave us a little bit more information about what the future is for fire and EMS in Carroll County. We're looking forward to making some progress on that. And then I want to make sure that I call to everyone's attention, tomorrow's box lunch with the Historical Society is about the ladies of Lewis Hall. And it's only been recently that we can, was Mrs. Thomas wasn't part of that, was she?
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, she made, the ladies of Lewis Hall, during the Cold War, the United States government had a bunker underneath of Lewis Hall.
Recitation hall.
Yeah. It was a telecommunications bunker.
Oh,
yeah,
that's right.
I've written about it. I finally got permission to write about it. It's just absolutely fascinating. And we had a number of community leaders in Westminster who would go to, I think it was once a month, to make sure that all the telecommunications facilities were in good shape. This is where the government, in case of a nuclear attack or a Cold War event, a part of the United States government was going to come to Westminster, and that's where they were going to set up telecommunications at McDaniel at Western Maryland College at the time. It was in operation for over 30 years, and nobody ever let on. They kept it to themselves for over 30 years. That box lunch talk is going to be tomorrow at Grace Lutheran Church's social hall. But the speaker is Jackie Herring, who was one of the ladies of Lewis Hall. So I think that's my report, Mr. President. Thank you for your patience and the time.
Thank you, Councilman Dayhoff. We have no ordinances. I'm sorry, we have no bids. We have no ordinances, resolutions. We have no unfinished business, I believe. Does anyone know of any unfinished business? If not, we'll move on. We have no new business. Is there any new business I'm unaware of? Great, we'll move on. We'll move to departmental reports.
Is there a fire report to start?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Let me see here. The total calls for the month of February were 485. EMS calls were 411. Fire calls were 74. The number of overlapping calls, 50% of the calls that we got for EMS services, we had no medic units available. We had to bring in Pleasant Valley or Union Bridge or New Windsor or Reese to help us out with that 50% of the calls. I'm always curious about the busiest day of the week. It's Friday, and the busiest time is between 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock. That'll be my report. Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks, sir. Okay, let's start off tonight by once again thanking our favorite Recreation and Parks Director, Ms. Gruber. She, with very little notice, was able to put together the team uniforms for the council for the big 0.5, don't forget the point, K. And I saw the photos. I was sad that I didn't get to see you in person, but they looked spectacular. And so I want to thank Ms. Gruber for that effort specifically, but also for putting on a great race. It was a very difficult decision whether or not to cancel the race. I think that we probably could have gone either way, to be perfectly honest, and we would have been justified either way. But I'm glad that we held it anyway, because I think it's a wonderful opportunity to have some outdoor recreation, a fitness opportunity for the community. And otherwise I wouldn't have been able to see you all in those amazing uniforms. So without any further ado, let's turn it over to Ms. Gruber for her update.
Thank you so much. We actually did have around 300 runners turn out for the 5K, and respectively about that many crossed the finish line. I was a little concerned because we started with 300 and then they only had times for 250. So I was a little worried where everybody got to. It appears that the snow interfered some with our timing system. Thankfully, they had a video recording backup, and we were able to recover most of those times for the 5K and make sure that our results were accurate. We also were still able to host our whiskey tasting events, 2 seatings of that event at Johansson's. And by all accounts, from what I could see, the bars and restaurants seemed to be very busy on Saturday during the pub crawl. We did have to cancel one of our trolleys, but one of the other trolleys that was a little bit closer to Westminster still made it. So we were able to circulate everyone around the city. We will be reaching out to those businesses tomorrow to go collect the passports that were redeemed, and we'll have a better sense of how they felt business was on Saturday. So we're certainly hoping that it was successful for them. And I truly just would be remiss. I know we've already thanked Steve and Zach and the entire crew, but my goodness, what a Herculean effort that they put forth to get this event off the ground, as well as the police department. So it's difficult enough closing down all of the streets that are necessary on this particular race route. And it is absurdly difficult when it is snowing about an inch an hour. So we we really, I was amazed. I was amazed that it went as well as it did. And it went as well as it did because we worked so effectively together as a team. And that really showed through on Saturday. And I think that those that were able to get here certainly enjoyed it, definitely made some memories. Thank you so much for your continued support of these events. I really do feel that it knits our community together and makes Westminster a place that people are proud to visit and to call home. So thank you so much. Mark your calendars. April 9th is our bunny trail and egg hunt at Wakefield Valley Park. And April 23rd is the wine stroll. And hopefully Mother Nature got all of her craziness out of the way on Saturday, and that we're looking at mild temps and sunny skies for those events. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Gerber. Are there any questions for the Recreation and Parks Department?
Not a question, but I have one comment. Does anybody else have anything before we go? I would say this, no matter what the bar and restaurant owners may or may not say, I can guarantee you that it was a bigger day for them in that terrible weather than what it would have been otherwise. And given the fact that I was in most of them throughout the course of the day, they were all busy. Yeah, and the trolley worked because I can tell you Maggie's in particular, they get a little left out not being downtown. And I watched people rolling off that trolley while I was up there every time it rolled in. So great work. Thank you, Ms. Simmons.
Okay, let's move on to the Housing Department. I know that's really hard to follow up, but. Okay, any questions in the Housing Department? Okay, we're gonna move on to HR then. I wanted to talk briefly about the legit healthcare check that we just received. The reason that we have a check that large is twofold. One is the way that the city has structured its healthcare offering to the city employees. And the second is the way that the city employees use, or in this case, don't use the health insurance. So our employees, just like I said last time, their value is to be very fiscally restrained, and they feel the same way about healthcare. So I think they sort of use some dirt and spit to fix whatever's broken and wait to see the doctor later, which I don't know is great for them, but it helps our bottom line quite a bit.
Dirt and spit.
Our insurance premiums for legit, we've just received them recently. Do you have anything else to talk about but that? Am I taking?
No.
Did you want to bring that up? Or you want me to take it?
No, you can.
All right. I don't want to steal the thunder, but
Dirt and spit.
because of the dirt and spit, our insurance premiums next year will only increase by 2%. And I have worked in another municipality where we've seen a 20% increase. So I thought that there was a decimal missing in that number, but it isn't. So it is because we've structured it in the way we've structured it, and also because of the usage and from the employees. So it's a joint effort is what I'm trying to say, that our success is a joint effort. And I'm really thankful for that. And also thankful for our HR director, who's done a lot of work in the last couple of weeks in order to get together all the insurance premiums for the budget. So Ms. McCullough, do you have anything to add for HR?
I'd just like to mention that the city is recruiting across all departments for various positions. So please, look at our website and apply. The city is an awesome place to work.
Any questions for the HR director?
Anyone have anything? I do have one thing. So it's not so much a question for you, but it's actually a comment. The one thing, and I agree with everything you said 100%, but I think the one thing also we can't lose sight of is how important it is that we made the move to legit back in 2010. And Tim was right. That was a risk at that time. I was here when we did it. We weren't really sure because we were on a private plan at that time. It was safe. It was secure. It was a little expensive, but it was a risky move switching over and jumping in with legit at the get-go. But it was a great move. And ultimately, part of the reason our premiums are what they are, we do get that kind of money back, is because we participate in that. And we're very fortunate. And it's one of the reasons I think it's important that we continue to support, that entity and take advantage of it, because most organizations don't get to do that. So And I'm not taking anything away from what you said, because I completely agree with everything that you said. But without that opportunity, we wouldn't have any of this. It would just be commercial. We would be paying premiums and paying more in premiums and not getting anything back. So yes, but you're right. The staff is in big part, and we can maybe have a discussion about that in an upcoming meeting on how we've addressed that in previous years, depending upon what that check looks like. So we can talk about that down the road.
And the beauty of the Legit Consortium is that we are helping other municipalities as well. When we pay into it in a private sector way, we only help the private company. When we pay into it in the Legit, when other cities have a one-off year where there's something catastrophic that happens, we're adjusting to help them out as well. So it's a greater sense of community.
And it can sometimes only take 1 or 2 employees with really devastating health costs that really change that matrix.
And our city has seen that in the past.
Yep.
We just thankfully haven't seen it anytime recently, and hopefully won't anytime in the future. Okay, let's move over to the planning department.
Good evening.
Mr. Nico?
The Historic District Commission meeting for March 2nd has been rescheduled for March 15th to include 3 discussion topics as requested by the chair. These are discussions on contents of the historic structure report, the Flower and Jazz Festival participation, and National History Day. And as always, the Winters Farmers Market is open on Saturdays up till April 9th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at 29 West Main Street. And we're seeing about 350 to 400 people each market. So it's going really well. And that's my report.
Any questions for the planning department? Okay, seeing none, let's move on to the police department.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Really, the only thing I have to add to what Councilman Cavacci already talked about is that we are going to hold our annual awards ceremony this year in person. It'll be on April 26th at 9 a.m. We're going to hold it at the Best Western Catering Conference Center, so we hope to see you there.
Any questions for the police department?
I got to stop putting so much in my report to leave you some meat on the bone. Sorry about that, Chief.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you for all of your assistance this weekend and getting ready for the event and keeping everybody safe over the weekend.
For not laughing too hard at us. Rolled by you at the beginning of the race.
I saw him smiling.
Do you remember? He was
really smiling.
He looked awful happy that he was not, that he was bundled up in a coat.
For these crazy people.
I'm going to echo the comments of the council again, that the streets department really went above and beyond in the last couple of weeks. I think for sure the streets department would have preferred that I had canceled the race altogether. But they assured me, regardless of what decision I make now and in the future, that they will keep the streets clean.
And they did.
Yeah.
And they did.
They did.
They always will. And when we call them, doesn't matter what time of day or night it is, they show up and get the job done. And you never hear them complain about it. So thank you again to the streets department. And we're going to move on to Public Works report, Mr. Glass.
So the only thing I have to add is the paving work that's going on right now. Just to put it out there, there's going to be some disruption on Hobbit's Lane and also West Main Street extended, kind of behind where Safeway is. So that's where we're working now. Okay. Once that's complete, then we'll come back into town to do the parking lot in the front of City Hall and the one behind. So that's really all.
Mayor and Council, you'll notice when we get to those lots that those folks who have been displaced have been sent over to a Longwell garage, is that what we call it? Right. To park. So there'll be signs out and communication out to those folks as well. But that's where we're sending them to park. It's only a couple of days that they'll be unable to park in the lots. The final thing I'd like to say is we've received a lot of positive feedback from the public in the last few weeks or month or so. And I just want to take this opportunity for those that are listening and those who are in the public to thank you for sending us that kind of positive feedback. Most of the time we get a lot of complaints and those are warranted. If your trash isn't collected, you should let us know because we want to take care of that. But it's not that often that we get a lot of positive feedback. And it's important, I think, to get a measure of how we're doing both directions. So I want to thank the public for all that positive feedback that we have received. And with that, that concludes the departmental reports.
Thank you, Ms. Imholtz. Okay, we're going to move on to citizen comments. The final item on our agenda is citizen comments, when we invite the public to address the mayor and council on any issues that pertain to tonight's agenda or any other city issues. So this is an opportunity for us to listen to comments, not necessarily engage in a discussion. But if there is anyone here that would like to make a public comment, please state your name and address and have at it.
Linda McNulty, 195 West Main Street. I'd like to thank Mark Depot for his patience in working with a young entrepreneur in town who's restoring an important historic property. And I know he explained the word variance more than once to him. And they've got him straightened out. The young man's not 21 and he owns 3 properties and a business. He's at McDaniel. And so he's doing a really good job in restoring an eyesore in town, but it is an important historic property. And I've asked City Council and Day Health to help do some of the research on it.
Thank you, Lindy.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Seeing that there's no other comments, our next meeting will be, hold on, I put it in here somewhere, I thought. Yeah, here we go. Our next meeting will be March 28th at 7 p.m. And without any further objection, we are adjourned.
Property.